Well, it's been about a jolly good year since I talked about something, so I'm going to talk about something right now and not talk about anything else for an entire another year. That's right, guys, it's me, reluctant nerd guy, talking about something that he likes a lot, but doesn't like to tell anyone else except his sister. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Homecoming. It's basically down to this, Guardians, and a couple other movies that are like tied with like my number one most like anticipated movie. But if you really had to like twist my hand and like pull it behind my back or whatever the phrase is, I'd probably have to say Spider-Man Homecoming just based off the fact that he's my favorite superhero of all time, favorite comic book character if you can't tell. On top of that, it being the first like hopefully good, hopefully great Spider-Man movie since like 2004. Like it's been literally like 13 years, guys, since we could say that we had a like universally agreed on and acclaimed good Spider-Man movie. Okay, I didn't hate Spider-Man 3. I was actually one of the few people that didn't mind it. I kind of enjoyed it. Amazing Spider-Man was just boring as shit. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing too bad about it. It was just boring as shit. And although I didn't like Amazing Spider-Man 2, I actually hated it when it first came out. I've grown to like appreciate it a little bit more over the years, but I can't agree that it's a good movie by any means. It's still a bad movie. I just think it's a lot less bad than when I first saw it, so there that is. So I guess for this video, I'm just going to talk about just like Spider-Man shit just in general. I'll talk about the actual Spider-Man, movies when they come out, well, before this movie comes out. So this is just going to be just a big, wide discussion. Just to open a dialogue, just a little thing just to talk about and just get all my nerdy shit out about Spider-Man Homecoming and just what I expect from this movie, what I hope is going to be in the movie. That's the same thing as expecting to be in the movie, but yeah, we're going to talk about that. So anyways, let's do this. Spider-Man Homecoming. So far, everything that has come out about it, trailers, even the little inclusion in Civil War, I really like it. I really am very excited. Everything that they're going for in this movie is basically everything that I want it to be, with a few minor little things, but I'll get into that. The way I would have done it, I wouldn't have started that with Vulture. Now, I do like the fact that they're doing Vulture. I haven't seen him yet in the Spider-Man movie. That's actually something that all these Spider-Man movies have been doing, regardless of a reboot or not. They haven't done the same villains as they've done in the last movie. What I really wanted to see, what I really would have done, is them go like ground level like villains, and then build their way up to the bigger villains. Like sort of like with Daredevil and like all the Netflix shows, I would have done it like very like, oh, let's do like a realistic enough villain. Like I know it's a movie called Spider-Man, it's not supposed to be realistic, but I just like to see that like form of like escalation. I would have gone with like maybe like Tombstone or something like that, and like build your way to like the bigger villains. Like maybe do Vulture in the second movie, and then maybe Green Goblin in the next movie. Like have Peter sort of look at it like, oh yeah, it's a superhero, it's the best thing ever. Everyone it's so cool. You're fighting these big bad guys, but then he gets brought down to the actual real bad guys. The Avengers are fighting like these aliens out in another world or whatever, or robots and whatnot, and he's expecting just to do that crazy out of this world weird ass stuff, but then he has to like realize that no shit, life is like that stuff maybe is out of this world and like crazy and weird and almost like shit out of a comic book, but when you get down to it, there's actual like a real life like threats, and people do get hurt and people do get killed, and he has to like sort of realize that, oh shit, this is where I'm needed. Like the Avengers out for doing their thing, and I can help them from time to time, but this is where I'm needed on my street, holding the fort. I would have done it like that, but them doing Vulture out the gate isn't too bad. I just hope to see that sort of mentality of Spider-Man, or that whole mentality of Spider-Man storytelling sometime down the line. I would love to see him cross over like the Netflix characters and do something just like that. Like they're in the same city. They're almost in the same neighborhood. They're just like a block away from each other. Do something like that at the very least. Michael Keaton playing Vulture, yes. I'm totally in agreement with that. Only if they keep him for more movies, okay? You have to keep Michael Keaton for a future Spider-Man movie. You have to. He's Michael Keaton, okay? You can't kill off Michael Keaton as Vulture. And they already kind of gave that away in the trailer, which we'll get into in a minute. Like, he knows Peter's identity. What I hope they do with that, at least in this movie, like, he unmasks Peter and he just goes, I have no idea who this kid is. Because that's the thing about Spider-Man, is like, Like, they did that in the Ultimate Comics, too. Kingpin unmasked Spider-Man, like, in, like, the second issue. Like, in, like, one of the earliest issues of Ultimate Spider-Man. And he's just like, I have no idea who this kid is. Like, billions, like, millions of kids in New York. They could be anyone, you know? This kid's just like a generic, you know, white kid. Like, no one knows who the hell he's gonna be. So, do that in this movie. Like, he knows Peter's face, but he doesn't know who, like, Peter is. So, like, maybe he just, like, unmasks him and just goes, I know your face. So, you better watch out, Spider-Man. You know, do something like that. That's what I hope. And then he gets jailed, and then you just keep him for like another movie. You just don't kill Michael Keaton. Just please don't kill Michael Keaton. Everyone's bitching about the trailer and how it gives away, you know, too many stuff and too many plot points and whatnot. I'm in a bit of an agreement with that. You didn't need to show Iron Man's inclusion in this movie at all either. I mean, Tony Stark, he's in it. That's fine if you revealed that. But you didn't need to show that Iron Man is going to be in the movie, that he's going to help out Peter to some capacity. Okay, I like the fact that they're actually putting in Avengers characters in these movies and actually have them serve a point in the story. Like, they're having Tony serve as Peter's mentor figure, which we haven't seen in a Spider-Man movie yet before, okay? Like, we've had the Uncle Bens, we've had, like, the Norman Osborns and stuff like that, but we haven't seen, like, another superhero, like, mentoring Peter, especially a superhero that Peter looks up to, like Iron Man. So that's actually kind of cool. But you need to show his inclusion in the movie as Iron Man itself. You could have just saved that for like for the actual movie. But that whole angle I do really like. But there's some stuff in the movie that we have not seen yet, and that should be saved for the movie. Like, I know there's gonna be like a couple, like maybe one more trailer and a couple TV spots, but do not spoil Shocker's inclusion in the movie. That's another thing I forgot. Shocker's also in the movie. We've seen like bits and parts of him in the actual movie, but there's still rumors flying about like how he's included in the movie. There's a couple set photos of him actually in the Shocker suit, and it looks like damn near perfect. Like, Shocker's costume is one of the most ridiculous costumes in comics, but like they really translated it well to this film at least. But there's rumors that there's multiple different characters going as the Shocker in this movie. Bokeem Woodbine is playing this one version of the Shocker or whatever. We haven't seen who Zendaya is playing. They've said that she's playing Michelle, but just gonna tell you guys right now, it's bullshit. Okay, she's not playing Michelle. She's not playing Michelle. They're not, like, a year ago, or at least like a couple months ago, it was released or leaked or whatever that she was playing Mary Jane, and like 60% of me is betting my money on that. Yeah, she's probably gonna be Mary Jane, but 40%, maybe a little less, is betting my money on Gwen Stacy. Why do you say that now? Okay, well. Here's the shit. Here's the scoop, okay? You listening? Good. Okay, so she's reading books in trailers, and she's kind of nerdy and kind of an outcast like Peter Parker. I'm thinking Gwen Stacy. I'm thinking like pretty like 40%, maybe 45, I don't know. Gwen Stacy, all right? It's not a lot to go off under, but I'm starting to think, what if they leaked that she's playing Mary Jane, and they were like, oh, that's a good thing, because, like, she's totally not playing Mary Jane. She's playing Gwen Stacy. I could totally see them doing that at the end of the movie. You know, Peter's, you know, either breaks up with Liz Allen or whatever, and he realizes she's kind of an asshole, or she breaks up with him or whatever. He sees Zendaya there. They start dancing, and he goes, hey, chick, I never got your name. What's your name? And she goes, oh, Gwen Stacy, or Mary Jane or whatever. It'd make more sense for Mary Jane, because then you could do the face of Tiger. You just hit the jackpot line, which would be really awesome and really, really well deserved. But I don't know. I'm thinking a little bit maybe Gwen Stacy. If it does come out that she's Gwen Stacy actually in the movie, you know who to call and you know who to thank, because I guess that shit first. Not really. There's plenty of other people that probably have said that other than me, but I mean, there's a lot of Spider-Man fans out there in the world, so I'm not the only one who's probably thought that, okay? Definitely not. I know that for a fact. But no, the movie looks very great. I like the fact that it's not looking like this huge, like, be-all, end-all, like, comic book movie. Like, it looks small for, like, you know, a summer, like, tentpole action movie. Like, it looks like, if it goes, like, the way of, like, Ant-Man, where it's not this big, like, you know, has to connect and has to, like, set up the next Avengers movie. It's just this movie in the middle of, like, other bigger movies. I'm fine with that. Like, I'm totally fine with that. That's the way I want these Spider-Man movies to go, because the thing about Spider-Man, the thing about, like, his supporting cast characters, is that it's a huge, like, world within an already big world, and you can do, like, a separate franchise of movies, like outside of having him be in the Avengers movies. Like I'm totally happy with him being in your event, you know, in your occasional Avengers movie, or even having him pop up in like some other movies outside of the Avengers or whatever. Like I said, I want to see him in these Netflix Marvel shows. He has a huge cast of characters that sets up its own universe and that sets up its own little, you know, niche in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That you can do just about anything. You really can just do about anything. Like I didn't mind that Sony had the rights and were doing their own separate Spider-Man movies from Marvel. I only minded because with each passing movie, they kept on getting worse. Like if they had gotten better, or if they actually fixed their shit and like got back on track, I wouldn't have minded them keeping Spider-Man and doing their own Spider-Man movies. I would not have. I really want them to do good. I really want them to like make a world of Spider-Man. Like you have all these characters, make this like a huge world. You have good creative people working on these movies. Have like this be a world like building movie. Like go out, like even when like the Avengers movies are done and most of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is done, you can still make Spider-Man movies. He's just now being introduced. And it's kind of funny because like this Spider-Man has now like reached the age that I'm at currently. So like me as a Spider-Man fan and me watching Spider-Man movies where Spider-Man is a teenager and he's in high school and he's a little awkward and he's a little nerdy, it's so endearing, and it just really like makes me like even enjoy the movie so much more and just enjoy seeing what we're coming from. I mean, the movie's called Spider-Man like Homecoming. Like it's a high school movie. Like they've looked towards like John Hughes movies and like other, you know, teen comedies and teen coming of age movies to make this not a Spider-Man movie, not only a Spider-Man movie, but a high school coming of age movie. And that's what Spider-Man, when you get down to what it's about, it's a coming of age story. So them doing that just gets me so like really pumped up and excited for this movie. When I was a kid, like growing up with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies and even the Mark Webb, Andrew Garfield movies, Spider-Man was like, he was Spider-Man. Like he was a man. He was this. I was a kid and I looked up to this man, like hero figure. With the Mark Webb movies, he was, you know, like a junior, senior in high school, and by the second movie, he went off to college. In the Sam Raimi movie, shit, he was in college like right out the gate. He was in high school for like a little bit, but he was in college all three of those movies. So when I was a kid, I was looking at this like adult like hero figure, and now I've reached the age, I've reached the time when they're making Spider-Man movies, and I'm like older than Spider-Man. At least I think so. I think he's like a sophomore or junior in this. I'm at the end of my junior year in high school, so like I've reached now the age where I'm like older than Spider-Man, and it's like so juvenile and like and it's crazy. Like I'm looking at this kid like, oh, what's this fucking kid doing now? It's just crazy. Like I've now reached the age where me and Spider-Man are either the same age or he's younger. Like it's just so crazy to me. Now everything that's going on with this movie, everything I can honestly say about it, I have a lot of hope for this movie. I really do. Definitely one of my most anticipated movies this year. Can't say how excited I am for the movie. It's just kind of crazy. Hopefully this will get Spider-Man movies back on track. I have total faith in Marvel. It will.